welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for those musical artists whose lasting legacies are primarily tied to a single song from the 1980s. Performers with multiple charting singles will be allowed as long as their public profile retains one big hit.
Mississippi, in the middle of a dry spell.
Number 50, the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, Hooked on Classics Parts 1 and 2. The monumental success of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack in 1977 led to a whole slew of other artists attempting to revamp classical music for a disco and post-disco age. Hooked on Classics Parts 1 and 2 is just that, an amalgamation and medley of Beethoven, Mozart, and more, all set to an electronically danceable beat. Dance floors were still chock full of disco during the earlier part of the 1980s, despite opposition to the contrary. This meant that novelty tunes such as Hooked on Classics Parts 1 and 2 could still thrive within an era of hard rock, heavy metal, punk, and new wave. Number 49, The Adventures, Broken Land.
These wheels, 1, 2, deep.
There is a massive hook to be found within the main verse section to Broken Land by The Adventures. It's sort of strange to look back today and wonder why this Northern Irish group never really achieved the sort of success their musical talent seemed to deserve. Broken Land possesses a huge-sounding production job too, one that's polished and cavernous, drenched in magically resounding reverb. This allows the chorus of Broken Land to strike even harder, a powerfully melodic section that makes the most of Terry Sharp's wonderful vocals. The Adventures managed to make folk-influenced pop music cool back in the late 80s. It's just a shame not enough folks managed to check them out at the time. Number 48, The Afternoon Delights, General Hospital.
No one could prove that he was a crook till Luke stole his little black book.
The writing was sort of on the wall when this group decided to name themselves after a one-hit wonder from the previous decade. The Afternoon Delights became something of a self-fulfilling prophecy, since this very niche tune was probably destined for dollar bin obscurity status. General Hospital is a proto-rap/post-disco jam that uses its lyrics to summarize and recap various plot points from the long-running soap opera General Hospital.
Monica likes to have a fun, that is why she had a son.
Rebecca Hall actually deserves some props for being on the ground floor of adopting a hip-hop vocal cadence, while the musicality of General Hospital is a funky jam that wouldn't sound out of place on a chic record. We'd be lying if we said this one hasn't grown on us.
I just can't cope without my soap. General Hospital, tell me what's going on.
Number 47, The Rainmakers, Let My People Go Go. There's a quirkiness to the Rainmakers that sort of makes us understand why commercial appeal seemed consistently outside the grasp of this Missouri-based rock act. The horn sections aren't for everyone, and Bob Walkenhorst's idiosyncratic vocals are equally unique to a fault.
Tell the boys with the horns, get down and blow.
A deeper listen to Let My People Go Go reveals some strong songwriting chops, however, particularly how the pre-chorus leads into its main anthemic hook. The lyrics are equally outside of what pop fans normally heard during the mid-80s. With some pop culture references and clever wordplay, it's not always easy standing out from the crowd, but the Rainmakers certainly walked to the beat of their own musical drum. Number 46, The Lotus Eaters, The First Picture of You.
There's a chant of newborn singing.
The 80s featured numerous British acts that found success with their brands of sophisticated pop. Yet the Lotus Eaters was one of the few cult acts that didn't quite achieve the same levels of visibility as some of their comrades. This wasn't through any lack of trying, of course, and The First Picture of You is one of those tunes that forgoes a lot of flashy style in favor of songwriting substance. There's a nice jangle to the guitars that lends the Lotus Eaters a certain gothiness analogous to some of The Cure's more upbeat material.
First picture of you, the first picture of summer.
At the same time, however, the first picture of you never feels like a copycat. Perhaps that's why the Lotus Eaters had difficulty following it up. Number 45, Double, The Captain of Her Heart.
It was way past midnight, and she still couldn't fall asleep.
This is the sort of song that was destined for the grocery store playlist. Background music for many of us to hazily remember, but not enough to properly identify. The Captain of Her Heart by Double hangs its creative hat upon Felix Haug's keyboard playing, particularly those hooky notes that leap out at us during the chorus.
Captain of her heart.
Meanwhile, Kurt Maloo's vocals are understated but in a cool way. A low-energy slow burn that works, given the songwriting circumstances. We're not going to say that Double was cheated out of an epic career or anything, but the Captain of Her Heart still works wonders for us all these years removed.
Too long ago, too long apart. She couldn't wait another day for.
Number 44, Lip Sync, Funky Town. The song may have been written in 1979, but its 1980 release date as a single just slides it in under the nose for our criteria. And we're glad too, because Funky Town by Lip Sync was one of those late-era disco jams that helped prove the genre didn't die in the 70s. The dance floor remained big business, and Funky Town served as an expertly crafted jigsaw puzzle of melodic hooks and earworm ideas that burrow their way into our brains.
Won't you take me to
Funky Town.
Won't you take me to
There's a certain weirdness and coldness within the electronic composition of Funky Town that just works. Meanwhile, the string sections and synth stabs all come together with some bubbling bass guitar and that famous chorus.
Won't you take me to Funky Town?
Number 43, Bang Tango, Someone Like You. The death of 1980s hair metal was greatly exaggerated by the end of that decade, as evidenced by the proliferation of groups like Bang Tango into the 90s. This LA group took cues from other bands attempting to mix glam riffs with other genres of music, with Someone Like You going hard on the sleaze. The band's debut LP, Psycho Cafe, also had some funky moments on there for adventurous listeners, in addition to heavy rockers like Sweet Little Razor. Meanwhile, the star of Someone Like You is that chorus, which offers a place for singer Joe Lestay to howl his brains out with a voice that peels paint off the walls. Consider this one a worthy hair metal deep cut. Number 42, Spandau Ballet, True.
This is the sound of my soul.
Have you ever wondered why some band names or song titles click within our memory banks while others struggle for that connection? Spandau Ballet isn't exactly a moniker that rolls off the tongue, while True is a very simple yet also forgettable song title. Yet we know this classic 80s jam from the moment that vocal ad-lib hits our hearts.
I know this much is true.
True is a great song, and Spandau Ballet seemed primed for equally great things after this tune's chart success. At the same time, however, it seems as if this British pop group will always be tied to this mega hit, rather than any of their other great songs, which is sort of a shame, right?
This much is a truth. This much is a truth.
Number 41, Paul Hardcastle, 19.
Vietnam, he was 19. Vietnam, he was 19.
His is a name synonymous with trailblazing electronic music during the 1980s, a keyboard wizard that saw chart success come to him with 19. This hit song from 1985 was just one highlight from Paul Hardcastle's enviable career, and proof that one-hit wonders don't necessarily live in obscurity after striking it big. Instead, Hardcastle's legacy today is respected, both for those who dig the poppiness of 19, as well as for those who appreciate Hardcastle's other electronic and jazz records. It's remarkable to analyze the sampling, production, and composition of 19 today. The song was just so ahead of its time. 19 also fully leaned into its political message, which also stood out from other more disposable music of the era.
I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Number 40, Grateful Dead, Touch of Grey.
Must be
Grateful Dead truly didn't need to embrace the video age with Touch of Grey in order to earn success or respect. They were already certified legends in '87, but this music video allowed the Dead to cross over to a new audience and a younger demographic. The image of Jerry Garcia and company performing as skeletons proved to be an iconic one. And Touch of Grey was a hooky pop tune that streamlined the Dead's jamming psychedelia. Sure, fans know all about the Grateful Dead's classic discography, but Touch of Grey was a party where everybody was invited, including the MTV generation.
Touch of grey, kinda suits you anyway, and that was all I had to say.
Number 39, When in Rome, The Promise.
If you need a friend, don't look to a stranger.
British synth-pop hadn't waned during the late 80s, and instead attempted to carry on its legacy of chart success with new artists like When in Rome. The Promise sounds tailor-made for the dance floor, and boasts a full-sounding production that could easily pass for a tune 5 years or so into the 90s.
I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking of the right words to say. Promise. I know they don't sound the way I planned them to be.
When in Rome certainly seemed to know a good chorus when they heard one, and The Promise contains a great one. This was the group's only major flirtation with the Billboard Hot 100 chart in the US, although die-hard fans of When in Rome know full well there are probably other tunes that could have potentially broken through to the masses.
I promise you.
Number 38, Susan Fastbender, Twilight Cafe.
Sometimes I get so alone. There's only one place I can think of to go.
Susan Fastbender and her songwriting partner Kay Russell scored a UK singles hit back in 1981 with Twilight Cafe. The song is an earworm if ever we've heard one, an infectious tune that's led by Fastbender's charming vocals, her impressive keyboard skills, and a catchy bass line.
I'm up the neon lights, and pretty soon I'll find my way to the Twilight Cafe.
If Twilight Cafe commits any sin, it's being a little innocuous, but there's an economy to the songwriting that feels intentionally simple. This ultimately works in the song's favor, although Fastbender and Russell never really reached the commercial heights of Twilight Cafe again in their careers.
The beat gets stronger in a mystical way. Pulsates around me as I dance and sway.
Number 37, Boy Meets Girl, Waiting for a Star to Fall.
I hear your name whispered on the wind. It's a sound that makes me cry.
Never underestimate the power of a great turnaround. Seattle's Boy Meets Girl clearly knew what they were doing when they wrote and released Waiting for a Star to Fall in 1988. The song boasts a great chorus and strong vocal performances from the duo of George Merrill and Shannon Rubicam. But it's that little turnaround hook before the chorus hits that turns Waiting for a Star to Fall from a good song into a great song.
Trying to catch your heart is like trying to catch a star.
Meanwhile, the decision to modulate the song's finale adds to the impact and texture of Waiting for a Star to Fall. It's a perfect pop storm that still sounds great so many years later.
Waiting for a star to fall and carry her into my arms.
Number 36, Kix, Don't Close Your Eyes.
What you doing out in the nighttime?
The subject of self-destruction isn't, historically speaking, one that tends to pop up within the world of 1980s hair metal. And it's true that Kix wasn't generally a band that worked within the rockin' and partying parameters associated with that scene. Yet Don't Close Your Eyes was composed in collaboration with an outside songwriter, Bob Halligan Jr., and this deviation from the formula ultimately worked in Kix's favor. Close Your Eyes is a moody ballad that feels sincere, particularly within the vocal delivery of Steve Whiteman. Meanwhile, the bridge section serves as connecting tissue to lift Don't Close Your Eyes significantly above the batting average of Kix's contemporaries.
Don't you take it lying down. No.
Number 35, Bonham, Wait For You.
Come tomorrow, one day closer to your heart.
Jason Bonham likely felt a lot of pressure when it came to the formation and release of The Disregard of Timekeeping back in 1989. The son of Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham could have easily released a warmed-over rehash of his famous father's work, but instead, the younger Bonham pursued the Sunset Strip. Wait For You still possesses that bluesy crawl reminiscent of classic Zepp, only painted with a heavy sheen of stylish glam rock.
All that I can do
Daniel McMaster's vocals channel a polished Robert Plant, while Bonham's drum work drives the song with a technicality missing from many other hair metal bands of the day. These unique elements all allow Wait For You to stick out from the crowd in a great way. Number 34, Tapow, Heart and Soul.
Something in the moonlight catches my eye. The shadow of a lover goes dancing by.
This British group definitely wasn't one-hit wonders at home, since other songs like Valentine and China in Your Hand hit the charts and earned Tapow further success. It's heart and soul that's synonymous with Tapow in many other areas, however, including North America. There are way worse songs with which to be associated, that's for sure, since Heart and Soul still sounds totally radical.
Now want your love, heart and soul.
Carol Decker's intentionally murmured vocals on the verse feel half-rapped, before the singer brings the proverbial thunder for an epic chorus. Heart and Soul is a song that never overstays its welcome, instead begging the listener to flip the record over and spin it again. Number 33, Suzanne Vega, Luca.
I live upstairs from you. Yes, I think you've seen me before.
This is one of those songs that feels out of time, possessing a beauty that could work within any decade. Luca by Suzanne Vega possesses impeccable production and boasts arrangements that sound beautiful, juxtaposed against some tragically dark lyrics.
After that, you don't ask why. You just don't argue anymore.
Luca's subject matter of a protagonist suffering a harrowing and violent family life is a powerful one, and executed to perfection by Vega, whose narration tugs on our collective heartstrings. This is a bittersweet song, one that we love listening to, yet are always brought back down to earth by its enduring power and message.
Guess I'd like to be alone, with nothing broken, nothing wrong.
Number 32, The Dream Academy, Life in a Northern Town. Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour was no stranger to collaborations, having worked with artists like Kate Bush alongside his own solo career. This included producing the Dream Academy's debut album, an LP that contained a major hit with Life in a Northern Town. The tune is lush, evocative, and atmospheric, with the vocalizations on the chorus probably serving as the most memorable aspect of its composition. It's sort of easy to see why Gilmour wanted to work with the group, since the Dream Academy definitely felt cut from a more experimental cloth than some other pop acts from the 80s. Number 31, Danger Danger, Bang Bang.
It was a warm night on the south side of town. They said they'd see you.
This New York-based hard rock group loved a little reduplication when it came to their band name and their song titles. It was sort of a gimmick with Danger Danger, reflected in both singles from their self-titled debut album. Naughty Naughty didn't quite resonate in the same way as their second release, Bang Bang, but both tunes were polished and highly memorable slices of pop metal arena rock. The latter in particular possessed an on-the-nose but ultimately sing-alongable chorus, a silly anthem for an indulgent age. Meanwhile, the actual album proper contained a number of quality deep tracks, including Under the Gun and the rock-solid ballad Don't Walk Away. Number 30, Sheriff, When I'm With You.
I never needed love like I need you.
It wasn't unheard of for power ballads like When I'm With You by Sheriff to see chart success back in the 80s. It was, however, unique for such a song to resonate without a music video on MTV. This meant that Sheriff essentially did it the old-fashioned way, by writing good songs that rose up the charts via radio airplay and word of mouth. When I'm With You may sound somewhat formulaic by modern standards, almost like a parody of those hyper-sincere soundtrack cuts of the decade. Sheriff found an audience though, and When I'm With You deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as other 80s power ballads. This is thanks primarily to that insane ending high note, of course. Number 29, Mars, Pump Up the Volume. The origin of this experimental electronic hit was actually a collaboration between two different British artists, Colourbox and A.R. Kane. It almost didn't happen as well, since Pump Up the Volume actually came into being at the insistence of both groups' record label 4AD. The end results proved to be successful, however, with Pump Up the Volume serving to legitimize an embryonic house music scene into a major cultural player. This Mars track also pumped up the attention paid to its sample sources, including Cold Cut and Eric B. and Rakim, essentially being a win-win for everybody involved.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance.
Number 28, Eddie Grant, Electric Avenue.
Now in the street there is violence, and not a lot of work to be done.
Some music genres meld better with commercially viable pop hooks than others. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that reggae could cross over into the mainstream MTV generation in quite the same way as Bob Marley did back in the day. Yet Eddie Grant silenced all doubters in 1983 with his infectious style of funk-infused pop reggae.
We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Electric Avenue would go on to become a musical calling card for Grant. It's honestly sort of surprising that some of his other album cuts and single efforts didn't resonate in the same manner as Electric Avenue. But hey, nobody's ever gonna deny that this song is a banger, right?
Rock it in the daytime, Electric Avenue. Rock it in the night, take it higher.
Number 27, Benny Mardones, Into the Night. This hit from Cleveland-born singer Benny Mardones peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, but gained infamy for its lyrical content. The topic of age disparity in romance tended to overshadow the immense vocal power in Into the Night. However, a 2022 interview with the professor of rock on YouTube revealed how the late Mardones was actually inspired by a real neighborhood family he met during the songwriting process.
To me, it was just about this little girl losing her dad. And when radio got a letter sent out by the record company explaining the story, they started playing it. And of course, it went through the roof and became a huge monster hit.
The tune remains a resonating soft rock banger, although the song's initial controversy perhaps contributed to Mardones being unable to replicate its success. Number 26, Mary Jane Girls, In My House. Musical luminaries such as Prince and Rick James also composed and produced efforts for other artists in their creative orbit. The latter in particular assisted his studio singers, including writing the hit In My House for the Mary Jane Girls. The song was hugely controversial at the time, having entered the cultural zeitgeist during a period when the perceived degradation of morality was blamed by some on pop music. In My House was singled out by Tipper Gore and the infamous Parents Music Resource Center as being overtly sexual and harmful to children. Today, however, it's probably just better to remember the tune as a catchy, highly synthesized ode to 80s decadence. Number 25, Jack Wagner, All I Need.
Kissing you was not what I had planned.
It's a story as old as time. Actors wanting to rock and musicians wanting to act. Jack Wagner earned some chart traction with this hit from his debut studio album. But the success of All I Need may not have been a surprise to those who were familiar with Wagner's character, Frisco Jones, on General Hospital, where he showcased his musical talent.
'Cause it seems so hard to believe that you're all I need.
All I Need boasts a strong chorus and economical set of arrangements. The soap opera star was afforded some high-quality help during recording sessions from songwriting legend Glenn Ballard.
All I need is just a little more time.
Number 24, John Parr, St. Elmo's Fire, Men in Motion. The acronym AOR has been said to translate to everything from adult-oriented rock to album-oriented rock. But one thing's for sure, you know it when you hear it.
Soldier roll,
You also know John Parr's voice when you hear it, since the man has delivered the goods on a number of film soundtracks. It feels sort of unfair to label Parr as a one-hit wonder as a result. But the British artist is admittedly most known for his theme to the 1985 film St. Elmo's Fire. The song is catchy as sin, with copious hooks to go along with Parr's powerful vocals. What can we say? We never get tired of this one. Number 23, Midnight Oil, Beds Are Burning.
Out where the river broke, the bloodwood and the desert oak.
Midnight Oil was an Australian band that didn't feel political statements and commercial chart success needed to be mutually exclusive. Their fiery, passionate lyrics and a desire to have creative voices heard resonated with pop fans back in the late 80s with Beds Are Burning. This song about demanding rights for Aboriginal Australians also just happened to have a chorus for the ages, one that was instantly recognizable. The song's arrangements also benefit from its simple chord structure and anthemic tone. It is a near-perfect symbiosis of commercial success and artistic integrity. Number 22, Scandal, The Warrior. The New York City band Scandal may have notched 4 other hits on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, but none of them managed to crack the top 40. The Warrior, however, was a different story. It peaked at the number 7 position. This success feels justified because the song absolutely rocks with pure pop rock brilliance. The Warrior is anchored by Patti Smith's incredible vocals and personal style. Her voice displays both range and power. Meanwhile, that main riff is simple but super catchy and memorable. Scandal may have never shot to the top of the charts again after The Warrior, but we'll never forget that $1 million chorus. Number 21, Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me. Would love to say with confidence that Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell would have been a hit without that $1 million Michael Jackson chorus. It just doesn't seem plausible, however, given the comparative chart success of Rockwell's other singles, Obscene Phone Caller and Peeping Tom. One hit song is certainly better than no hit song, of course, and Somebody's Watching Me remains a Halloween playlist staple to this day. Yet its longevity is likely more due to its macabre musical arrangements and MJ than Rockwell's Boris Karloff impressions on lead vocals. That said, Somebody's Watching Me remains a defining tune of the music video era, and one that we still love to pieces not just on Halloween, but every day. Number 20, Animotion Obsession. Animotion was a unique group. Their ultra 80s sounding synth-pop was tailor-made for the decade, and it's true that some of their other singles did chart on the Billboard Top 100.
You are obsession. I cannot sleep, I am possession.
However, it's largely argued that Obsession is Animotion's #1 calling card. The song straddles a line between a clubby dance sound and colder, more experimental synth sounds found during this early part of the decade. It's this artificiality that works in Animotion's favor, however, since the song is actually a cover. The slightly more rock feeling of the Holly Knight and Michael Des Barres original is replaced by Animotion's detached and computerized approach. It's weird, it's wonderful, and it works. Number 19, Matthew Wilder, Break My Stride. You may only know Matthew Wilder from his smash hit Break My Stride, but that's only part of the man's story.
Last night I had the strangest dream. I sailed away to China.
This New York native has actually been responsible for producing hits for a ton of projects and artists too, including no doubt Christina Aguilera and Kelly Clarkson, as well as the Disney film Mulan, for which Wilder co-composed the music. Break My Stride, a quirky tune taken from Wilder's 1983 debut album, is a reggae-influenced pop tune with a vocal inflection from the singer that undeniably sells the tune's charisma.
Never met another girl like you. Whip me over.
This is breezy, feel-good music that's upbeat and impossible to resist. It's hard to believe this is Wilder's only solo brush with mainstream chart success.
Break my stride. Nobody will slow me down. Oh no.
Number 18, Kajigu Too Shy. Too Shy was a monster hit for the British new wave group Kajigu back in 1983.
Tired or short of breath, don't even try.
The band did manage to follow up with other success in the UK, but for many fans across the pond, it's Too Shy that cements the group in a collective time capsule memory. This could be thanks to the band's arresting appearance that made frontman Limahl and crew easy on the eyes.
Hey girl, move a little closer.
However, the song itself also boasts an immensely memorable chorus, as well as subtly catchy slap bass work from Nick Beggs. Limahl would find chart success as a solo artist with the theme from The Never-Ending Story, but unfortunately, Kajigu would never reach the chart heights of Too Shy ever again.
Too shy, shy, hush, hush. I.
Number 17, Murray Head, One Night in Bangkok. There seems to be a laundry list of actors who've tried their hands at the pop music game. Some of them have had more success than others.
Time flies, doesn't seem a minute since the Tyrolean spa had the chest bars in it.
Murray Head's thespian career took a detour into the music business, thanks to his performance on the rock opera soundtrack for 1973's Jesus Christ Superstar. However, his solo career is likely better known for yet another Broadway hit, One Night in Bangkok.
One town's very like another when your head's down over your pieces, brother.
From the musical Chess, this is a track that certainly feels like a show tune. Head, for his part, talks through the tune more than he sings, but his cadence is nothing short of catchy. Meanwhile, the chorus is an earworm of the highest order, accompanied by some of the most 80s-sounding synthesizers this side of a Radio Shack.
One night in Bangkok, the world's your oyster.
Number 16, Dexys Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen. It's not unusual for a pop act to strike gold more than once in their native land. Gino served as a second #1 hit for Dexys Midnight Runners in the UK, but it's Come On Eileen that remains the group's calling card in other parts of the world. This is due in part to the song's iconic video, which arrived during the early years of MTV. The visual of the group clad in matching overalls would go on to become closely associated with their conceptual legacy. Meanwhile, the song's folk-influenced melodies and dramatic build during the finale make Come On Eileen feel so vibrant even today. We challenge anyone not to kick up their heels and break out dancing to this one.
Come on, Eileen. Oh, I swear to me at this moment.
Number 15, Aldo Nova, Fantasy. The glam metal explosion that would occur in a post-Bon Jovi and Quiet Riot world was still a hairspray can or two away when Aldo Nova released Fantasy in 1982. As a result, it doesn't feel unfair to give this Canadian axeman at least a little credit for being ahead of the curve. Fantasy is a hard rocker through and through, anchored by a sturdy main riff and some catchy keyboard accompaniment. Meanwhile, the video is all pomp and ridiculously laser-obsessed. Nova's skills as a guitarist, however, are no joke. His leads on Fantasy ensure that rock fans still remember this solo hit from back in the day, no matter how far away it gets. Number 14, The Church, Under the Milky Way. Because of their change-up in genre and style, The Church are a bit of a special case.
Sometimes when this place gets kinda empty.
A respected Australian rock act with a worldwide following, this is a band with numerous charted songs. With that said, Under the Milky Way from their 5th studio album was released at a time when fans had already latched on to the group's gothic and moody dream pop sound.
Wish I knew what you were looking for.
The song proved to have mainstream commercial legs all the same, earning The Church a top 40 US hit. It's easy to see why, too, as Under the Milky Way rolls over the listener with a smooth, stargazing melody and a soft, enveloping atmosphere. Number 13, Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time. Okay, so obviously Eddie Murphy isn't a one-hit wonder in any other famed aspect of his life. However, is there any song from Murphy's musical career that's as well known as this jam from 1985?
Girl, I can't understand it. Why you wanna hurt me?
Party All the Time is the sort of vanity project that one can only get off the ground when they achieve this level of fame. Hot on the heels of Beverly Hills Cop and his comedy special Delirious, Murphy was in the perfect position to release Party All the Time.
Girl, I seen you in clubs, just hanging out and dancing.
Still, the song is better than it has any right to be, thanks largely to the production duties of Rick James. The grandiose orchestrations hide Murphy's limitations as a singer and help lift Party All the Time to cult classic status.
My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time.
Number 12, Patrick Swayze, She's Like the Wind. Chalk this next hit up as another song from an actor who had no right being this freaking good.
She's like the wind through my tree.
Patrick Swayze proved that he was a treasure trove of creative riches when he released this soundtrack cut from Dirty Dancing. The actor actually co-wrote the song too, intending it for release alongside a different 80s film. Today, however, She's Like the Wind is nearly impossible to separate from Dirty Dancing. And why would you?
Am I just fooling myself that she'll stop the pain?
The image of Swayze's earnest emotional vocals, that saxophone, the booming 80s production, it's just fantastic all around. Plus, Wendy Fraser assists Swayze near the end with her own great vocals. We can't help but miss Patrick Swayze just a little bit more every time we hear this beautiful ballad. Number 11, Robert Tepper, No Easy Way Out. Has there ever been a soundtrack cut better suited for a kick-ass emotional montage? Well, maybe, but Robert Tepper does his best with this contribution to the 1985 Rocky IV soundtrack, and succeeds in a huge way.
We're not indestructible, baby, better get that straight.
No Easy Way Out is an absolute banger, a surging pop rock tune that's anchored by persistent synth stabs, urgent bass playing, and Tepper's own dramatic delivery. Seriously, the man goes for broke right from the jump, eschewing subtlety for raw emotion and pure honesty.
I don't wanna pacify, I don't wanna drag you down.
Just check out Tepper's solo dance moves for the accompanying video and try not to be inspired. This is pure, unadulterated 80s awesomeness, undiluted to a perfect, excessive essence.
No easy way out.
Number 10, Don Johnson, Heartbeat. It isn't uncommon at all for actors to try their hands at creating music. While Don Johnson was co-leading the show Miami Vice, he released his debut single Heartbeat.
I've been out on my own, gonna go alone now, 'cause that's the way it's got to be.
The song's expensive music video features slick visuals that mimic the style and substance excess of Johnson's hit show. And it helps that the chorus of Heartbeat is instantly memorable and sounds epic.
Heartbeat, I'm looking for a heartbeat.
Although the production is super processed and ultra 80s, that isn't a bad thing for the song. Johnson's performative emoting and the video's dramatic narrative showed he was dedicated to making music. Unfortunately, Johnson's follow-up song, Heartache Away, didn't achieve the same level of success. Number 9, Taco, Puttin' on the Ritz. Although one-hit wonders don't have to be cheeky or weird, they can really stand out when they are.
To wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits. Puttin' on the Ritz.
This was definitely the case with Taco's cover of the Irving Berlin song Puttin' on the Ritz. It became his only top 5 hit in the US back in 1982, shot to the top of charts in Germany, and even reached the number 1 slot in Finland.
Have you seen the well-to-do up and down Park Avenue?
Puttin' on the Ritz is quirky and absolutely soaked in processed 80s synthesizers. While Taco puts in a performance that may not be traditionally good, it is definitely memorable. But it's still a one-off song that feels as distinctly 80s as Hairspray and Shoulder Pads.
Puttin' on the Ritz. Puttin' on the Ritz.
Number 8, Stacy Q, Two of Hearts. Stacy Q is a California-born singer who's been able to find success in the worlds of movies and music.
I never said I wasn't gonna tell nobody. No, baby.
Her synth-pop band SSQ earned cult status with the material penned for classic horror film The Return of the Living Dead. But the biggest hit of Stacy's solo career had to be 1986's Two of Hearts.
People get jealous 'cause we always stay together. Yeah, baby.
The song is infectious right from the jump. It boasts an energetic backbeat, electric synth, and Stacy's warm and appealing vocals. The singer proved that she could come across as both sinister and sweet.
I got this feeling that you're going to stay. I never knew that it could happen this way.
None of her other tracks quite captured the magic of Two of Hearts. However, it will always serve as the perfect B-side for Stacy Q's darker work in the horror realm.
Two hearts that beat as one. Two hearts, come on, come on.
Number 7. Shannon, Let the Music Play. R&B singer Shannon may have earned a couple of #1 hits on the US dance charts over the course of her career, but Let the Music Play remains her biggest achievement on the Billboard Hot 100.
We started dancing and love put us into a groove.
It's easy to see why. This smooth jam benefits greatly from Shannon's personable and melodic vocals. She manages to create a great chorus with the song, while the instrumentation also does exactly what it's supposed to do: get bodies on the floor.
He's dancing his way back to me.
Let the Music Play is a great throwback to an R&B era that's old school but never dated. In fact, consider this one timeless. Number 6. Tommy Tutone, 867-5309 Jenny. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, the power pop subgenre was absolutely everywhere thanks to trailblazers like Cheap Trick and Blondie.
Johnny, I've got your number. I need to make you mine.
The group, known as Tommy Tutone, took full advantage of the trend to achieve modest chart success with Angels Say No. However, the song with which the band will always be associated is 867-5309 Jenny.
I got it. I got your number on the wall.
The track absolutely rocks thanks to a killer opening guitar melody, awesome guitar solo, and instantly memorable lyrics.
867-5309. 867-5309.
It's basically songwriting 101 for anyone searching to write a hit pop tune. The only people that were unhappy with this Tommy Tutone classic are people who actually had this phone number.
867-5309.
Number 5. Quarter Flash, Harden My Heart. Some songs just have a timeless quality to them due to a mixture of nostalgia and vitality that keeps them in the public consciousness.
Crying on the corner, waiting in the rain. I swear I'll never ever wait.
Harden My Heart is definitely one of those tracks. This awesomely moody and memorable hit song comes from the Oregon-based group Quarter Flash.
All of my life I've been waiting in the rain. I've been waiting for a feeling to never.
Rindy Ross is front and center of the song's success. Her plaintive, melancholic vocals and excellent saxophone playing work perfectly with the emotive guitar and insistent bass-driven groove. Near the song's finale, the tune becomes so urgent and powerful that we just cannot get enough. Harden My Heart was unquestionably this band's biggest smash. It's a shame more people don't remember Quarter Flash's impressive effort.
I'm gonna harden my heart. I'm gonna swallow my tears.
Number 4. Baltimore Tarzan Boy. If you're looking for a truly unique musical rabbit hole to explore, may we suggest the wild world of Italo disco?
Jungle life, I'm far away from nowhere. On my own, like Tarzan.
This synth-obsessed subgenre provided countless single hits and strange music videos for fans to uncover. One of the most popular one-hit wonder tracks came courtesy of Baltimore with their hit Tarzan Boy.
Burning bright, I fight a blood to signal to the sky. I see the wonder, the does the message get?
The music video is a fever dream of hazy visuals and excessive makeup. But don't let those elements distract you from the fun vocals and strong composition of the song. Oh, and did we mention there's a version of Tarzan's yell within the track? There's an oomph to the arrangements that mixes just the right amount of repetition with melodies that burrow their way into your brain and just live there rent-free forever. Number 3. Alannah Myles, Black Velvet. Since this song was released in 1989, it may sound a little bit less, well, capital E 80s. But that's not a bad thing. Black Velvet from Alannah Myles is the sort of slinky and sensual blues number that wouldn't sound out of place on a movie soundtrack. While Myles enjoyed success in her home country of Canada, Black Velvet serves as her singular calling card elsewhere in the world.
Mama's babies in the heart of every schoolgirl.
This isn't taking away anything from Myles as a performer or Black Velvet as a song. It stands out from the late period hair metal and pop that was dominating the charts back in '89. Number 2. Martika, Toy Soldiers. 1989 was a good year for pop music. Part of the reason why comes down to Martika's Toy Soldiers.
It wasn't my intention to mislead you.
In 1989, she released this fragile and melancholic melody to the masses. Despite its darker tone, it was a #1 hit in America that year.
It's getting hard to wake up in the morning. My head is spinning constantly.
There's a strength and sadness to the tune. The guitar melodies are impeccably produced, the drums are soaked in reverb, and Martika's vocals tug at the heartstrings in the best possible way. We are not ashamed to say that Toy Soldiers still makes us shed a tear to this day. Then again, that's the power of music, right? Even if you call Martika a one-hit wonder, you cannot deny that she created a classic with this tune. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Cutting Crew, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. Admittedly, Cutting Crew hit the top 10 with both I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight and their follow-up, I've Been in Love Before. However, the former song has endured far more than the latter as the band's most famous song. And with good reason, too. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight is a dramatic new wave hit that feels larger than life. The guitars are punchy, the synthesizers are perfect, and the lyrics are iconic. Frontman Nick Van Eede radiates both power and sensitivity as the brooding crooner at the lead of the track. We can't stop replaying this song on repeat and singing it at karaoke every chance we get. Our love for Cutting Crew's biggest hit will never die.
I just died in your arms tonight. It must have been something you said.
Feel like shouting out any one-hit wonders you feel deserved more chart success? Let us know in the comments.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.